3 semen retention exercises for ejaculation control. In this video, I'm going to share with you the exact step-by-step process to really master your ejaculation so that you can get to the point where your erections are harder, so that you have more intense orgasms, and then and then by the end of this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the exact process that you can use to separate orgasm from ejaculation and eventually get to the point of multiple male orgasm. So make sure to stick to the very end of this video to understand and master this very important exercise. Okay, now just a quick disclaimer before diving into this video. This video is definitely not for you if you are still addicted to pornography, if you are still counting the days that you've gone without porn, if you are still in that mode where you're like suppressing it, repressing it, escaping it, then you are still in the point of that detox. Okay, you're still in the point where you need to rewire these negative effects that pornography has had on your brain. And once you get to the point where you're comfortable in your own sexuality, once you have learned the art of sexual transmutation, right? I'll link out to another video over here about sexual transmutation if you don't know what that is. Because honestly, if you get to this point where you're watching this video just for information overload, you begin practicing these exercises, but you have a lot of subconscious baggage that is still there in the backdrop, then going through these exercises can actually be damaging to your sexual health. Okay, so just before diving in, I wanted to warn you about that. I'm pretty sure that you're going to watch this video anyway, but understand that until you have a solid foundation, right? It's about your chakras. Unless your root chakra, your sacral chakra, unless you're firm in your grounding, right? Unless you're actually pure with your emotions, if you're not carrying on negative emotions that aren't serving you, right? If your metabolism is messed up, if you're out of shape, right? All of these factors, if your energies are out of balance and you go through these exercises, then not only will they not benefit you, but they might actually damage you. So make sure that you go through that process. Make sure that you have a solid foundation mentally, physically, spiritually, you are aligned before going down this path of actually using these semen retention exercises to not only master your ejaculation control, but also awaken that kundalini energy, that snake energy at the base of your spine up towards your head, and eventually getting to the highest level of multi-orgasmic mastery. Okay, so if you are unfamiliar with all of this and you just came on this video thinking that, I just want to last longer, I just want to last 10 minutes so I can, fucking feel good about myself, then this is definitely not the video for you. You have to reach a certain level of development in your sexuality, in your spirituality, right? So I definitely recommend you check out this video over here on the levels of semen retention mastery. Okay, check that out, dive into that if you aren't familiar with this stuff before going into this video. Okay, with that being said, the first exercise to really master your ejaculation control is to get clear on your pubococcygeus muscle, okay? AKA your PC muscle, AKA your pelvic floor muscle. It's about that muscle being strong and firm and having that mental control over that muscle, which will really determine whether your erections are hard, whether your orgasms are intense, whether you are able to control your ejaculation moving forward as well. Okay, so this first exercise is really about getting your awareness of this muscle and really getting clear on the strength that you currently have of this muscle and the room for improvement that you have ahead as well. Okay, so every time that you go to the toilet, every time that you go to take a piss, this is the time where you're gonna exercise your muscle. Okay, so what you wanna do is get on your tiptoes, all right? Get on your tiptoes and then piss as hard as possible, right? Use all your force to piss as hard as possible and then stop, right? Stop as hard as possible. That contraction is basically your PC muscle, all right? Piss, stop. It's called the stop-start technique, all right? So what you do is you start pissing, then you stop. Then you start, then you stop. And this is basically the contraction of the PC muscle, which will be used in this exercise, right? And assess yourself based on how strongly, how firmly the piss is coming out and how abruptly you're able to actually stop it, right? So ideally, each time that you go to the toilet, go through this stop-start technique about 6 times. You're going to understand the strength of your muscle right now. You're going to understand which muscle we're even talking about. And over time, you'll get stronger and stronger to the point where you can instantly stop your piss very, very abruptly, okay? And if you see that you're unable to do this, that just means that your PC muscle is not fully exercised. It means that it's weak. It means that you aren't developing an awareness towards actually strengthening this muscle. And that is what brings us to the second exercise, which is Kegels. Okay, Kegels are basically like reps for your PC muscle. Like, you exercise all your other muscles, but if you refuse to exercise your PC muscle, then you will continue to go down the cycle of premature ejaculation, of not having ejaculatory control, of not having those strong, firm erections, because the PC muscle is really what dictates all of these areas. Okay, so I personally like using this app over here that you can see on the screen. It's called Stamina, right? Stamina. You can check it out, and it walks you through all the sets and all the reps, and it's like $2.50 on the App Store. It's pretty good. I was actually using this for a while last year, and then I got a new phone, and then I didn't download it again, and then I was slipping down on my PC muscle development, so I'm still advancing on the levels. But it's great because you can get to the level of level 20, and then after that point, you know that you have a very, very strong PC muscle. But if you don't want to download that app, I'll leave out in the description just a series of sets and reps that you can do with the Kegels, right? And with exercise 1, you are familiar with the contraction of this muscle, what this muscle actually is. And then with exercise number 2, it's about doing this every single day. Okay, you can do this in your car. You can do this right now while I'm filming this video, getting that energy up to my head, right? This is the exercise which will actually awaken that serpent power within you, right? That Kundalini energy. And eventually, when you do get to the point where you're experiencing this at a bigger level, because there's so much that we can talk about this, right? There is Master Mantak Chia, who is a Taoist master. He's written like 42 books on these topics alone, okay? So it's very hard to narrow it down, but I'm just giving you the beginner's point of view, the 3 exercises which you can use right now to really move in that right direction. And then I'll continue making more videos about this topic. Leave a comment below if you are digging this content so far, okay? And subscribe if you haven't already, because when you master the Kegel, when you get to the point where you are very high in your development, when you're strong in your contraction of the PC muscle, then we get to the third exercise, which is solo cultivation. Okay? Again, I want to emphasize that if you are having this shame and guilt associated with your sexuality, if you are vibrating at that lower frequency, if you are stuck in survival, if you're stressed out, then definitely refrain from this exercise, okay? Because if you are still down that path where you are busting nuts every single day and then you try to do these semen retention exercises, then that can definitely, like I said, be more damaging than actually beneficial for you, okay? So in solo cultivation, this is what they refer to it in the science and art of ancient Taoism, okay? You can check out this video over here that I made on the semen retention secrets of Taoism as well. But they refer to solo cultivation as that of you making love to yourself, okay? Because 2 people can be doing the same thing. 1 person can be busting his nuts out, watching pixels on a screen, escaping reality, escaping the negative emotions that he feels, but another person can come at it without watching the pixels on the screen, okay? Because porn is definitely something you need to quit. If you're still going down that motion, if you still watched porn in the last 90 days, then please just stop this video. This is definitely not for you, okay? I want to emphasize this, that once you have rewired your brain back to its original factory setting, only then should you go down this path of actually executing on these exercises, okay? So getting to the point about solo cultivation, this is basically the process of making love to yourself. Okay, now the intention, the end goal of this is really to develop a sensitivity of your own sensuality, right? Your own excitement, your own scale of what it looks like to get to the point between orgasm and ejaculation, okay? Because ultimately what we want to do over here is separate orgasm and ejaculation. Most men are completely unaware of the fact that orgasm and ejaculation are actually 2 separate biological processes, okay? And once you understand this, then you can work towards separating them with the intention that you can go and cultivate that deep, loving, passionate relationship with your partner without depriving yourself of your life force energy, okay? Because ultimately we want to preserve that energy, we want to transmute that energy within us rather than outside of us, unless we are trying to propagate our genes. Unless we're trying to have a kid, then the Taoists recommend that you should preserve your life force energy and keep it and fluctuate throughout your body, because it is a very potent form of chi energy which can be transmuted into productivity, into creativity, into you thinking at a higher level. Okay? So the solo cultivation exercise basically involves you getting some lubricant, whether it's olive oil, whether it's coconut oil, whatever it is, and then making love to yourself and stroking your entire shaft, right? And playing with your ball sack as well, and just developing that relationship with yourself to the point where you're literally making love to yourself. Okay, you just go down that path, and this has also been known as edging. All right, you get to the end point, right? You want to draw that line between ejaculation and orgasm, so that you can really develop that awareness, so that anytime that you are leaning over, right, because there's a point of no return, anytime you're just at that point of return, that is the point where you want to put your Kegel exercises into practice, and then clench that, contract that, and then preserve that energy. And eventually it will take a few misfires. Okay, even if you're practicing this, then you will have some misfires in your practice. Don't beat yourself up about that. The most important thing is that you have a positive relationship with yourself. You have a positive relationship with your own sexuality, with your own sensuality, right? You are able to do this practice with the intention of actually kindness and loving awareness for yourself, right? And as you're doing this, it's going to take a lot of practice, but the intention is for you to experience your first orgasm without ejaculation if you haven't already. Okay, so for like the first couple of weeks, you just develop an awareness of where that line is, right? You can develop, heighten your awareness of where the line is between ejaculation and orgasm, and eventually then you begin getting to that line. And as soon as you get to that line, your intention is to clench, right? To Kegel, to do a very hard Kegel, to clench your fist, and imagine just drawing that energy up your spine, up your sacrum, and eventually up towards your head. Now, the reason that I said that it's important for you to have a solid foundation before you get started on this, because if you have blocks in your energy system, right? If you are stressed out about your health, about your finances, about your family, and just constantly anxious, or if you are carrying a lot of unaddressed emotional baggage and trauma from your past, if your metabolism is out of whack and you're overweight and you're fat and you feel like shit, right? If your heart is not open, if you're not even paying awareness to your heart, these exercises can actually do more damage, because that energy just gets trapped rather than being transmuted. So fair warning to you once again, right? Because it's very important that you have a certain foundation in place before getting started down this path. Okay, so that is a quick look at the 3 semen retention exercises. The majority of what I've learned in this whole area of semen retention, of ejaculation, is from the man, the myth, the legend, Master Mantak Chia. Okay, he's a Taoist master. He's been really spreading this knowledge throughout the world. He's written, like I said, more than 42 books. And the one that you should check out if you are down this path even more is Multi-Orgasmic Man. This one right here, I'll link out to it below. You can check it out on Amazon as well. But it's thousands of pages, I think, 400 or 500 pages, and it's just a series of exercises. But really getting started with these 3 exercises will set the foundation for you, will help you build your it's even hard to say, pubococcygeus muscle, right? I think I said it right. The first time, but either way, your PC muscle, your pelvic floor muscle, developing the strength around that, and developing an awareness around your own excitation, your own arousal, right? And then eventually getting to the point of multiple orgasms. And of course, once you start with yourself, once you start with that solo cultivation, only then will you be able to transition to actually that dual cultivation, where you can go ahead and develop that deep, loving, passionate relationship with someone else. Okay, so I hope that you got value from this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, because there's a lot more content coming out every single day on these topics. Let me know in the comments what other stuff you want to see from me. What was your number 1 takeaway from this video as well? And with that being said, this has been Mo, and I will see you in the next video.